You want to use your VA loan for investment properties? You want to know, can you do it and how can it be done?
Yes, it can be. And in this video, we'll cover how I did it twice in 2 years with 2 different rental properties. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Hey Kingdom family, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notification to stay informed on upcoming videos that we post. And if you get some value from this video, hit the like button. We appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, Kelvin. So we already, the people is unaware. You purchased 2 different rental properties, 2 years, using the VA loan.
Correct.
So your initial process when you first started, was you looking for the bank to lend you your money, or was you looking for the property at first?
So, good beginning, right? So first, financing is always a big topic with everybody, right? We always want to make sure we have financing straight, settled out, using the VA loan, 0% down, so you're good. But I implore you to look for the property first, right? As in this video said, it's all about real estate investing. So with your VA loan, you can get a multi-family, which is what I did. I purchased my first year, a year and a half ago, I purchased a triplex. So you should definitely focus on the property first. Financing will come. You know, you haven't used your VA loan yet, you know you're gonna get it, right? So focus on the property type first. 2 to 4 units in your area, try and figure out what prices they're going for. What's the average, purchase price on it? How much does it rent for? What are property management fees? Are you trying to manage it yourself? All those little factors is good to know before you even go to your lender, so you can know where you at, financially when you actually get into it and you have to pay the bills.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you'll tell people to try to avoid if they're looking into multi-family property or anything like that?
What you should avoid is definitely like price per unit, right? That was one big thing with me when I purchased my triplex, was how much am I paying for each unit? Because now, instead of buying a home like everybody traditionally does, you buy a home, you go live in it, you're cool, that's just the door. But when you step into the multifamilies now and you're looking for, real estate investing and ROIs, return on investment, you want to make sure your, what I call price to entry, is low enough to where you can still cash flow at the end of the day. Because that's what the whole point is of investing, right? Is cash flow. So one thing to avoid definitely is paying too high of a price for each unit. Basically saying, if you purchased a 4-unit property, which is a quad, right? If each unit is $100,000, then the property is selling for $400K. $100,000 for each unit, $400K. Then you would have to figure out your mortgage. You can just use a little mortgage app, figure out how much you're going to be paying a month, the utilities, are the tenants paying utilities, or are you paying it? Or is it half and half, right? So then, that just be something really good to look at. So you don't want to pay too high of a price for each unit. And it all depends on in your area and your market, maybe you're in Texas or New York or Tennessee, where, all these prices differ. So it's all relevant and perspective to where you're at. So that's just something to look into. That was one big thing for me.
Okay, so all right, you found your property. And did you even use a process when it came to like which bank you wanted to lend from, or are you just, how do you actually choose your bank?
So yeah, I kind of understand what you're coming with that. For me, when I did it, it was all about taking action, right? So, because I was wanted to do real estate investing for a while now, and I kept putting it off, reading, but never taking action. So the first thing I did was start looking at properties. What kind of property type do I want? Figured out, hey, I can use my VA loan to purchase multifamily units. Then came, all right, I know what I'm getting in. Price to entry was low. units cost for each unit was low, right, below 50,000. I was like, cool, perfect, right? And then that's when I figured out, okay, cool, I need to get this lender thing down. So I got my COE, certificate of eligibility, from ebenefits.com, got that down. Obviously, I had my DD 214 on hand. So then I just started calling a bunch of banks, right? Hey, Navy Federal, what's your requirements? Cool. Hey, US Bank, you do this? Cool. Hey, Bank of Cincinnati, Bank of wherever. And I started just gathering information. I didn't run my credit yet. I was just gathering information of what they needed from me and what I can get from them, right? So I had a better understanding of what I was getting into and what kind of interest rates was I looking at for my credit at the time. And just side note, extra information, my credit at the time was a 680. Wasn't as it were as it is now, I'm at 799, but it was like 670, 680. So just in case you're in that area, it can be done, right?
Okay. So, next question. If somebody don't want to buy the multi-unit property, right? Let's say they want to buy a house. How can they actually use that house as an investment if it's a 3-bedroom house?
Well, one thing you can do is house hack it, right? But let's say, that comes with different things, right? So like I say, it's all on perspective from your point of view. If you have a family, wife, husband, kids, or whatever, you just have to know that you're gonna have to sacrifice something for this investments, right? So if you're gonna house hack, meaning you use your VA loan, you purchase the property, it's 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, whatever, and you rent out the other bedrooms to people. But when you do that now, you're bringing people into your home, you're sacrificing privacy, you're sacrificing space for investment purposes. But if you can look on the other side, if you're willing to make that sacrifice for a year or so, right? So where you can, in a year, leave that property and then rent it out to some other people, that's cool. But if you're not willing to make that sacrifice, I would highly suggest not house hacking with the VA loan, especially since you have to occupy the property. Because that's just one of the things, you have to occupy the property. So that's just one thing to look into.
Oh yes, that's good that you brought up the occupying the property, because people must realize, like, hey, you must occupy that property for a year if you're using a VA loan. Is there any way around that?
I mean, just try and stay like in the legal bounds of the whole VA loan. So you're supposed to occupy the property within 60 days, and you can get up to a year depending on your situation, right? We covered this occupancy topic in a different video. VA loan for 5 tips. Mm-hmm. We'll leave that up here in the YouTube card. You can check that out, right? There's more information on that pre-VA loan, right? So with your occupancy, what you can do is, as long as you have, now you can get this from me, I didn't do this, just saying, what you can do is occupy the property, get the bills in your name, you are paying the bills, right? The utilities, you get the all set up and ready to go, and you claim the unit, right? It's yours, right? See, and it works a little bit different if it's a house. That's why I highly suggest don't do the house thing. You want a house, get the house for you, right? When it comes to house hacking with conventional loans, that's entirely different. For VA loans, 2 to 4 units, that's the sweet spot. So if you did pick up a multifamily unit, claim one of the units, fulfill the occupancy, put it in your name, put everything in your name, change your address, right? So now you are fulfilling the occupancy. You are technically living there, you're paying the bills there, and that would be one way to get to it, right? To get through to that occupancy, right? And then you just have to, buy your time and fulfill the year, and then, move out, purchase another property, and rinse and repeat.
Okay. So another question will be, okay, let's say this for various loans, right? So a lot of various pretty much might work overseas or whatever the case may be. Are you currently using a property manager? And if so, where did you go about finding a property manager?
So funny thing is, year and a half ago, I closed on my first property. Like I said, I was all about taking action because I was making a bunch of excuses for myself. So I finally took action, figured out, called all these banks, figured out what I needed, finally called the lenders, and finally took action and got the property, closed on everything. And the next day, the real estate agent was like, hey, Mr. Hussein, I got these keys. Who do I give it to? And I was like, well, I don't know, So I did not have a property manager, right? All these things you get with experience, right? Even something as so simple as who to give the keys to, who's managing your property, right? I was totally drawn at blank. So what I did was that day called 5, 10, every single property manager that was in the vicinity, that was in like a 25 square mile radius, and I called every single one to figure out, can they help me? I think 2 to 3 people told me no, that they was full, they couldn't take on any more properties, blah blah blah. And the last one, they just finally said yes, and that's how I got my property manager.
Okay, so Kelvin, somebody come to you and say, hey, I got $5,000. I want to get a multi-unit property. Can I do it?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Very simple, done.
Okay, let's say that property is valued at $140,000. Can I do it with $5,000?
Yes.
How?
All right, so that's the big question, right? Is how can you do it with $5,000, right? So, big picture, yes. Micro, small picture, you have to figure out your market, right? So, is there a $150,000 triplex in your area? Is a triplex going for 300,000, 400,000? That's why you gotta do the legwork before, right? So the answer to the question is yes, you can, but it all depends on your market or which market you're willing to invest in, sorry. So with that being said, is that most people want to invest in their backyard because that's what they know, that's what they feel comfy with, right? I implore you to look elsewhere. If you're in a tough market and you don't have as much funds to invest in your market, look elsewhere, right? There's markets all over the place. There's deals all over the place. In any market, there's always a deal. So if you cannot find that triplex for 150,000, look elsewhere. Look in some of the Midwest states or whatever. I know it might seem scary. I know you might not know nothing about that market, but that's why in this era, there's so much technology. You can do all the research. You can call property managers. You can call your real estate agents in that area, right? You may know somebody in that area, and then your $5,000 will go a lot longer, right? Your money will stretch a little bit more longer because you have to pay closing costs, you have to pay the appraisal fees, the inspections, those run about $500 each. And then you have to have some money left over in the bank to show the lender that you can cover the mortgage, worst case scenario. So with that being said, yes, you can. It depends on your market. But if your market is tough, look elsewhere. It can be done. Trust me, I did it, right?
Okay. So, if you're looking back at your old self right now, what would be the one thing you said you wish you could have done?
If I could have done it all over again, to be honest, I'd do it the exact same way. Because all my failures led me up to using my VA loan twice. The not having the property manager ready, not knowing about the lenders. I got denied 4 times. The 5th time is when I got approved. Going through all that, not having the paperwork ready, not having my letter of explanations ready. All of that experience made me close on my second property 2 times faster. So to be honest, I wouldn't do it again. And that's a good question. So if you are looking to do it, or if you're in the process of doing it and you don't know what to do, you don't know anything about investing or whatever, man, just dive in, do it smart, do your research, right? Call around, figure some stuff out, but do it. And that will help you in the future for your other investment properties, right? You don't have the experience and the education to go into the second one strong.
Okay, so basically, you should tell people, hey, your biggest failure is the one you don't even attempt.
Yeah, exactly.
So you hey, do your research, but don't over research because all you're doing is just procrastinating. You contemplate, you think about, okay, you got failure.
Yeah.
Failure is the best teacher. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
So basically, your old self, you'll tell you like, hey, what you wait for? Do it.
Just do it.
Learn from it.
Yep. Man, like I said, I was reading, I was doing so much research, but I wasn't taking no action. And then, I just said, man, screw it. I'm just go for it, right? I'll learn on the way. I'll figure it out on the way. I've never invested in this state before. I don't know, but I'll do the research. With the research, I'll take action along the way,
Okay. So you say you use your VA loan twice, right? And how would you able to use it the second time within that short period of time?
Okay, so that's a good question, right? Because everybody that'd probably be like the meat of the whole discussion, right? Is 2 VA loans within 2 years, right? So, with the first property, I purchased that a year and a half ago from today's date. And before going in on that first property, like I said, I did my research on the VA loan, my entitlement, how much I was able to use, right? And with that, I was able to figure out that, hey, if I use X amount of dollars, I would have X amount left for my entitlement, for my actual VA loan. Come to find out, also with that leftover entitlement, I don't have to refinance out the loan. I could just use the VA loan again. I just have to make sure that I fulfill the occupancy for that second property, right? So when I went into the first one, like I said, my price per unit, I wanted to make sure I keep that low enough so that I can still cash flow on the property, on the triplex, but at the same time have enough entitlement left over to cover my second purchase, right? Because I did not want to come out of pocket. That's the whole point of the VA loan with the 0% down. That's why it's so enticing. So when I going for the second property, I had enough entitlement left over to cover that purchase price. And if you just want to hear my numbers, the first property was $117,000 for 3 units, right? And the second property was $148,000 for a duplex. The reason being is for the occupancy, they want to know, hey, you're just coming out to this triplex, why are you getting the second one for, right? So my reason was, hey, this triplex was cool, but I want to move into something bigger for my family, right? Because my family is growing and growing families need more space. Occupancy, filled.
Okay, I think we covered a lot already. Basically, what people already they could already get the grasp of how to go about it, and if not, like you said, they can refer to the last video, the 5 steps in under 10 minutes when applying for a VA loan. The last question I want to ask you out this video: what do you want people to get?
I want you to feel empowered to actually go out there and take action and use your VA loan, but use it wisely for real estate investment purposes, because it can be done, right? The whole point of financial freedom is to have more passive income coming in. And us being veterans, there's a big financial gap there where we can, financial benefit, where we can use the VA loans to bring extra income coming in. You might have to sacrifice a year. You might have to sacrifice 2 years moving around from building to building. But as you move around and you start renting these other units out, you start bringing more cash flow in, right, to your household. So take action, do your research, do your due diligence. It's all due diligence, right? The more due diligence you do and the more action you take is the more confidence you build for the next property, and the next property, right? So that's just one thing I got for the people, man. You veterans out there, just take action, but also research, due diligence.
Hey, if you guys have any questions or you need any more information, our contact information will be listed below. You can hit us up on Facebook,
on Instagram,
or even right here on YouTube down in the comments section. We appreciate all of it.
And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification to stay updated on future videos. And if you had any value from this video, drop a like. We appreciate it.
All right, Kingdom family. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.